Morning, Pamela. You can a bit different today, a bit different. So I'll be sharing some slides with you. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Susanna. So we'll just wait a couple more secs and then we'll kick off. How have you guys found the week so far? Okay, so I'm going to get started. But So first and foremost, I just want to say a thank you to everybody who's joined us for the whole of this week. It's been, absolutely amazing seeing how many of you are joining us and also seeing your pictures and posts and how people are really taking the things that connect with them and work for them and putting them into action. So today is going to be a bit different in that I'm going to be sharing a presentation with you. So for me, kind of just a reminder, I'm a qualified nutritionist and health coach. My real heartland is around two things: habit change and also gut health. So I'm hoping to convey to you today just how incredibly important this is and how it really can change your life. So let's get going. So for those of you who may have heard of him, Hippocrates was quite an incredible guy. And all those years ago, he was saying all disease begins in the gut. Now, the WHO, so the World Health Organization, defines health as a complete state of physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So, actually, everything we've been doing this week all plays a part in optimizing your overall health and well being. So your body has the power to heal itself. And the root cause of all of this, and so many things that happen within your body, is your gut microbiome. So here's one for you. Did you know you're actually only 10% human? So 10% DNA. Your body is also made up of 90 trillion bacteria, fungi, etc., that live on us and in us. And I know that's a bit of a icky thought, but that's the reality. And there's 10,000 different species, and several of thousand of those alone live within your gut. And they're pretty heavy as well, so they can weigh up to 4 kilos. So the right balance is absolutely critical to your overall health and well-being. Now, when our gut bacteria is balanced, these are the things we can have. So just raise your hand, just take a look at the slide now and raise your hand or give me a hell yes if you can associate to wanting anything on this list. So, improved energy, quicker recovery, improved sporting performance, running faster than you've ever run before, balancing your hormones, sleeping better, feeling younger, no food cravings. So one of my biggest challenges for years and years and years was sugar cravings. Actually, since I've healed my gut, I just don't have sugar cravings anymore. So all of these things can, ultimately be yours if you can well and truly just invest in healing your gut. Now, I want to play you a quick video just to kind of paint this picture further. Bacteria plays a crucial role in fighting diseases from cancer to obesity. New research is revealing that the health of your brain might actually be connected to the health of your gut. What's happening is that the gastrointestinal system just may end up being the gateway to our overall health. You ever feel like your stomach has a mind of its own? Well, more and more research out there indicates that very well may be true. Microbiomes are all the rage. Everybody's talking about these. If you haven't heard about them, you need to know. What we're talking about the microbiome. This is something that medicine is getting very, very interested in. What is the microbiome? There's a whole ecosystem. There's about 100 trillion bacteria are down there. Microbes are intimately involved in
to more healthy. But research has shown that we're actually more microbial by a cell count than we are human. These bacteria are our friends, and you got to treat them well because they're the command system of our body. They digest food, they break down toxins, they synthesize vitamins and hormones, they train our immune system, they turn genes on and off. So if our microbes aren't healthy, we can't be healthy. And the reason we need to know about these is because we affect them with all things we do, like take on antibiotics. We've been taught that bacteria is bad, but in fact, there is good bacteria, right? Why is bacteria good? The NIH says that it can help produce vitamins we can't make, break down food for nutrients, improve our immune system, and even fight disease-causing microbes. So groundbreaking studies find your tummy might be upsetting your brain. By changing the bacteria in our intestines, we could alter our mood and our behavior. The new research might transform the way we understand and treat a variety of mental health issues. It's an exploding area of research, and we refer to it as the gut-brain axis. You see, we're damaging our microbiome with too many drugs and not enough funds. Yes, and what we're finding is a lot of diseases that we thought were genetic, cancer, autoimmune diseases, are actually linked to disorder in the gut microbiome.
Right, so I'm conscious, Pamela, I know you couldn't see it. So I'm just going to stop it there and just move on. So apologies about that if you can see it, Pamela. Um, but you know, I guess kind of what the video highlights. So in the US, this is something they've been more and more aware of for quite a while now, and they're investing more and more in it. But interestingly, since COVID's hit in the UK, there has been more and more pressure being put on the government to really address gut health. So I'm sure everyone has been watching the news a lot and the updates from the government. And actually, what's been highlighted is just how critical healing your gut is for every aspect of your body. So, and I think it was 2 weeks ago, there was a piece by a doctor who had basically appealed to the medical board to really start addressing this and taking gut health seriously and looking how we can really kind of start working towards that place of proactive medicine and proactive healthcare versus just healing the problems as and when they occur or maintaining and managing the problems. So the reality is there's a great, we'd all love to have optimal health, but the key here is that actually you all can have elite health. So elite health is possible for everyone. And you need to kind of look at health on a bit of a continuum. And, ideally we'd all love to be in that perfect place, but the reality is we can take significant steps to improve it. So, let's find out just how we can do that. Now, I'm sure it's no surprise when you look at these two forks, of which, on paper seems to be the most healthy. So, so let's look at what things can really impact your gut microbiome and consequently just how well you feel. So, the reality is that today we're actually part of the largest nutritional experiment ever, with more and more shelf-ready food, high carbs, high chemical meals, which actually just have their phytonutrients, so their real good added value nutrition stripped out. Our bodies weren't designed to eat things like gluten, dairy, sugar, processed foods. The cavemen and cave women would have found these pretty hard to come by. And this is what causes things like discomfort, gas, bloating, inflammation. So I'm not saying, right, everyone stop eating these foods. But what I do recommend is becoming much, much, much more aware of how these foods make you feel. So, if you're a bit windy post dinner, if you've got stomach discomfort or bloating, or you're lacking energy, then it will be directly related to what you're putting in your mouth. And an interesting fact for you, a Swiss study in the late 90s found that to have the nutritional value of one salad in the 1950s, you would need to have 47 salads in the late 90s to get the equivalent nutritional value. So I don't know if that's a surprise to anyone, but let me know kind of what you think about that. Personally, when I, first saw this study and heard about this, I was absolutely shocked at just how drastically the nutrition had been depleted from our foods over the years. So, what I want to do today is give you some tips. in terms of how you can address some of these things and make slight changes that can have a big difference over time. So next time you go do your food shop, just be really conscious of the choices you're making. And ultimately, there's a really easy way to do this. The more names you don't recognize on the back of a pack, so anything you're picking off the shelf, start, really looking at the labels. And if there's a lot of names that you don't recognize, do you know what? Just put it back on the shelf because they're things you just don't need in your body and shouldn't be having in your body. And another one is actually our diets today, particularly here in the UK, are really low in fermented foods. Now, these are foods which are rich in probiotic bacteria and enzymes. They enhance the health of your gut microbiome and really enhance your immune system. So to get these within your diet, you need to think of having things like kefir, sauerkraut, pickles. Kombucha is quite a popular drink now that you can see more and more in supermarkets, and live natural yogurt. So one that I really, really recommend to my clients is Yo Valley. Just their plain natural yogurt in the green tub, which is a fantastic source to be having and adding to your diet. And that's a simple switch, right? For a lot of people, you could, if you already have yogurt, just make that conscious switch, and then you're addressing that. And interestingly, people tend to refer to prebiotics a lot less. And the reality is, if you're taking probiotics, which a lot of people do today and in varying forms, and often pay a lot of money for, but if you're not taking the prebiotics and your gut health is out of balance, then actually they're just going to be a lot less effective and in some cases arguably just not worth taking. And equally, this is kind of a good one. So when it comes to prebiotics, they ultimately increase your healthy bacteria, aid your digestion, and enhance the production of valuable vitamins. So, good sources for you include things like garlic, bananas, onion, chicory, raw asparagus. These are all things that you can add into your diet, or may already be having in your diet. So you can be, comfortable in the fact that you're getting that source of prebiotics. And equally, when it comes to water, so, we all pretty much here, particularly, just take it for granted in terms of the water we're drinking. But there's something you need to be really aware of. So, you should be aiming to drink water that's a level of pH 7 or above, because the more alkaline the water, the better it helps maintain the overall pH in your body. And some studies have actually shown you can even, and this is a great one for us ladies, you can even age more slowly by having a higher pH. So, and it's also, been proven that the more alkaline your body, it helps prevent and block chronic diseases such as cancer. So, one to just make you aware of actually, there's a water, and you may have heard of it, called Smart Water. Now, it looks fancy, it's in a premium bottle, premium price, but actually it's not even a good quality water. So it's less than a pH 7. And, you know, all bottles of water, if you are buying bottled water, tell you what they are. So, that's something you can check for yourself if you do buy bottled water. But definitely if you do and it's under 7, then switch it to a brand that is above that, and you will definitely feel the benefits. So when it comes on to lifestyle, now we all go up and down here, right? And particularly at the moment, I'm sure the picture on the top right is associating with a few people. Um, but the reality is that alcohol, and we'll all know this, if we've ever had a hangover, it depletes us of vitamins and minerals and actually kills off the good bacteria in your gut, and it increases the acidity in your body. So one of the knock-on effects of this is it leads to inflammation in your gut. And therefore, anyone who's holding excess weight or bloating around their tummy, and if you do drink a reasonable amount of alcohol, this could be a key reason why. Let's move on to exercise. So, I prefer, and the way I talk to my clients, I prefer to say movement versus exercise, because the reality is, right, some people just don't like exercise. And for them, it conjures up images of, you know, being in a leotard or working out hard in a studio, running around, going for a long run, trying to do the best that they can. When actually, just walking or putting on your favorite music and having a little dance at home, all of these things are clearly forms of exercise. So, and gardening. So just anything that really, is going to get that heart rate up and even if it is for a short amount of client time. So I have a client currently who just recovered from coronavirus actually, and no surprise, they're clearly seeing the impact on their respiratory system. So really simple. One thing they're doing is just they're going out for their daily walk, but on three of their walks, what I'm getting them to do is just do 1 minute faster walk where they feel a bit out of breath and 2 minutes slow. And they're doing that for 30 minutes continuously. So really simple, free to do, but it just gets their heart rate up a bit so they can just start building it up and they'll gradually be increasing that over time. Now, smoking and vaping, I'm not going to dwell on this because we all know the impacts of this. It puts your body in a state of fight or flight mode, which means actually you're getting higher cortisol, your skin ages, you will likely be carrying excess fat. And both smoking and vaping clearly are full of chemicals that just shouldn't be in our body. Sleep. So it's not about necessarily, so how long you sleep is a key part of the puzzle, right? So everyone knows you should be getting about 7 to 9 hours, 7 to 9 hours. However, the key point here is that with the human body, it goes into repair from 10:30 until about 4 a.m. So actually, really, you want to be getting sort of in bed, ready for bed about 10, so that you're asleep by 10:30, so you're really optimizing that repair time. And we'll all deviate from that from time to time, but if you know you've got things to improve in your health, then actually giving your body that optimal time to repair will have a real impact. And so stress, especially at the moment, the current situation, right? Homeschooling, jobs, everything else that's going on, conscious about what is life going to be like once COVID, disappears and goes away. All of these things, the media, etc., everything has an impact and damages your gut flora, therefore lowering your body's resilience to stress. So and a part of that is you're also therefore creating increased cortisol levels, which means you're likely carrying more fat than you need to be. So it's important to think yin and yang when it comes to stress, because reality is it's inevitable. We're always going to have it. We're all going to feel it in varying degrees, but how you handle it can have a massive impact on your health. And think about all the self-care things that we've done this week. All of these things can help you better manage stress, because the more confident you are in the self, the more calm and relaxed, and the more you're investing in your own self care, the better resilience you will have. And one thing, so, walking, yoga, meditation, doing a brain dump before bed is another great one, because if you do have a stressful job or you do find it difficult to switch off in the evening before you go to bed, do a brain dump, have a pen and paper by your bed, write down all the things that you need to tackle the next day and what you're going to do about them, because actually then you're getting them off your mind and you should be able to have a nice restful sleep and good quality repair. And another key thing with stress is more and more it is making people ill. So it can cause IBS, stomach ulcers, raised blood pressure, skin flare-ups, and so many more unpleasant conditions. So we really do need to get it under control. And long-term stress is when, and some people within this group this week may actually feel like they've had stress for a long time. And with long-term stress, you start having more significant impacts on your health and your body. So your body ends up in a permanent state of fight or flight mode. And for those of you who don't know what that is, ultimately that's your body's response to something like being chased by a bear. Now, I don't know where you live, but most of us generally aren't chased by a bear down the street very often. So, if your body is in that constant state, actually what's happening is it's starving and restricting blood flow to your digestive system and just focusing on keeping your body alive. So you're never, ever giving your body that optimal time to do what it needs to do. And breathing exercises can be a great one here. So, Gemma earlier in the week took you through some deeper breathing. Just doing something like that if you're feeling a bit stressed is a great option. Or, as crazy as it sounds, going barefoot in the garden. Standing in the garden or wandering around pottering barefoot for 20 minutes, or even better, on the beach. Because actually, this is amazing at bringing down cortisol levels and inflammation within your body, and particularly first thing in the morning. So that's another great one to try. And it sounds crazy, but trust me, it works. Now, just kind of to really bring the importance of this lifestyle, because it's not only about us, right? It's about our children as well, and how we protect and look after them and educate them. Now, just a quick stat for you. So, the World Health Organization did a study on childhood obesity for children between 0 and 5 years old, and quite alarmingly, 41 million children globally were obese in 2016. And by 2025, they're expecting this number to go to 70 million unless something changes dramatically. So they also revealed that 1 in 5 children will have some kind of metabolic illness by 2030. So there's never been a better time than right now for us all to be focusing on changing that, for the future generations. So the environment. Now, you may or may not have heard of POPs. So POPs are persistent organic pollutants. So many POPs are currently, or were in the past used, such as pesticides, solvents, pharmaceuticals, and industrial chemicals. And most of these are man-made. And the problem with these things is they then bioaccumulate in the fatty tissues in your system, which means they keep building and building and building. And this therefore increases the level of toxicity within your body. You know, Also things that we never thought about years ago. So things like fillings, with fillings, that metal is being absorbed into your bloodstream. So there's so many things over time that can build up. And pesticides, so food is treated, and more to protect crops, make them bigger, better, protect them from pests. And ideally we would all buy organic food, but the reality is, buying organic is really expensive and it's not always feasible for everyone. So there's a really simple, easy tip that you can use, and that's if you put any fruit, veg, the only one I wouldn't do is raspberries, or anything significantly porous, then put 1 part vinegar to 3 parts water into a sink. Leave your fruit and veg in there for sort of 20 minutes or so, and actually this will kill 95 to 99% of those things, to just make them healthier. So if you can't afford to buy organic, then actually this is a really good option just to really improve the quality of your produce. Now, here's another quite interesting fact for you, slash alarming. Um, it was revealed that when you purchase say an apple from the supermarket, actually, we think, okay, it's probably had a bit of a journey, it's probably been on a truck from Europe or whatever it may be. Um, but the reality is, it was probably picked 18 months ago. And that's the standard norm for our supermarkets, is actually generally with apples, they're picked 18 months prior to us picking them up off the shelf. So, and that's because they're sprayed with the preservatives. But how frightening is that, actually, that we're not eating fresh food anymore, and that actually we're picking up these things thinking they're highly nutritious, but they're 18 months old. And when it comes to meat, so dairy, eggs, things like this, again, if you can buy organic, great, because actually, it's full of antibiotics, growth hormones, all these things which aren't good for the animals' bodies, but equally they're not good for our bodies. So, it is that there's not a huge amount we can do here if you eat meat, because organic meat is expensive, but equally there's a lot of good websites where you can bulk buy organic meat and get a much better deal than what you'll pay for it in the supermarket. And then another one, so supermarkets are becoming more conscious of these things. So you can now buy nitrate-free bacon and sausages in the supermarkets, and more, and some of you may have already seen, this is being flagged on the packs. So this is a really good a really good switch that you can make, because ultimately we don't want to be digesting nitrates. And kind of another one when it comes to pops and things that we don't necessarily think about. We all love our homes to smell nice, and we'll have candles, we might have diffusers, incense, whatever it may be. But just be really conscious of what is in those products and try and get them as natural as possible, because ultimately it's not just you taking them in, it's your family. Now, I'm going to move on. So one really, really common thing actually that I see a lot with clients is leaky gut. Now, by leaky gut, what do I mean by this? So within your intestines, you have ultimately, it's where your intestinal walls will separate a bit. So imagine it kind of, a colleague of mine describes it quite great actually. Imagine it like a tea bag. So you make a cup of tea and you want kind of the brew to happen, but you don't want the leaf in your cup of tea. And actually, what happens is if these walls start to separate, then some of the bad bacteria and the undigested food starts leaking into your bloodstream. And ultimately, what this does is it drives systemic inflammation. And, if you can associate with anything on that list, then I can't emphasize to you enough the real importance of, just healing your gut and really focusing on actually, is this something that I need to address within my body? So there are four key steps for optimal gut health. So first and foremost, kind of look at this like a garden, right? So if you bought a new house and the garden needed a bit of work, you wouldn't just think, right, I'm gonna plant my flowers, plant my new trees, and they're going to go grow beautifully, because ultimately the soil's going to be toxic, it's covered in the weeds, therefore they're not going to thrive. So, the first step is really getting rid of those weeds and imagining that within your body to remove those toxins. So, removing kind of the unhealthy foods, and think of it as sort of your probiotic stage, your cultures, your fermented foods, adding that good bacteria back in through your natural yogurt, your kefir, your sauerkraut, pickles, etc. And then your guts need the fertilizer, which is your prebiotics. So this contains sort of the non-digestible plant fibers, such as inulin, which you can find in garlic, beans, onion, chicory, etc. And then, prepare the gut garden. You're reducing the inflammation, and then ultimately the unhealthy gut bacteria requires, the challenge you have with unhealthy bacteria. And for anyone who craves processed foods or sugar, chocolate, sweet foods, actually, don't take it personally, because it's the bad bacteria in your gut that is likely doing this. So within our bodies, kind of an optimal level is 85% good bacteria and 15% bad. Unfortunately, more and more in the Western world, that has actually flipped. And we see more and more people who just have a huge imbalance in the bad bacteria side of things. Um, and one kind of really alarming stat, just to highlight that. So in 2015, constipation alone cost the NHS 247 million. Now, we could dramatically reduce that cost and that pressure on the NHS just through healing our gut. So when it comes to elite health, it's, it's more than just a supplement regimen. You can absolutely heal your gut through the food you eat. But the reality is, it takes a lot longer. You have to stick religiously to a list of clean foods and not deviate that from anything between sort of 6 months and 2 years, and depending on the severity of the health conditions. So what I do within my clinic and with my clients is I actually use a program to support that process. So helping the body detoxify, cleanse, and balance, and really just get correct that balance of good and bad bacteria. So all the foods, that are chosen, and that I provide as a list for clients, reduce the bad and elevate the good. And it helps to tighten the junctions. So I mentioned before, about the tea bag, it helps to just heal that intestinal wall and pulls toxins. So, heavy metals, and I mean, anything that's within your body, it will actually pull those out and pump your body full of the good bacteria. Now, also within the program, you get more oxygen circulating within your body. So it's fed better, your energy's lifted, and your enthusiasm's lifted as well through, you have some key hormones that are also produced within your gut. And all of these things just really help take you to another level of health. And the reality is, when you put specific supplements in quantified measures with the right food, actually what can take you 6 months to 21 days, 6 months to 2 years can actually take you 21 days. So one thing I really wanted to share with you is, the reality. So a lot of people, feel like they've been on this constant diet for their entire life. And it's, just a huge struggle and a battle and, challenge to maintain our ideal weight. But, this hopefully illustrates to you on this slide the reason why. So when you just do a normal diet, unfortunately, the toxins accumulate within your fat cells. So when you do a normal diet, every time you lose a kilo, these toxins increase by 2 to 4%. So actually what happens is you may lose the weight, but the toxins will just move around your body and you won't actually eliminate them. And then gradually over time, even if you're thinner, you just become more and more fatty because these toxins are constantly building up within your body. And that's one of the biggest challenges with yo-yo dieting or dieting plans, is that, if you're not addressing it and you're still fueling self with chemicals, slimming bars, or the wrong foods, wheat, sugar, etc., then actually you're not going to solve the problem and you're not going to truly heal your gut. So when you have clean foods, and the program that I use within my clinic, which is the Purify program, actually what you're doing is you're addressing things at the root cause, because you're doing a cellular level detox. And and specifically, one of the supplements I use actually strips the toxins from your body. So this means you have more energy, you're likely to be able to gain more muscle, you're going to lose fat, and most importantly, you're going to lose the toxins and really start to heal your gut. So, just to recap, just to come back on this slide. So when you bring your gut bacteria into balance, the reality is you feel infinitely better. And, I've had my own journey with this, and, I've talked a bit about it kind of at the earlier parts of the week. But I'm a massive believer in being able to help my clients achieve optimum health and well-being. And I know firsthand just how amazing these products are, because I use them, and even now I do a regular maintenance plan, but I use some, I do this level of detox quarterly to really make sure my gut stays in that optimal health. And every single aspect of this slide, you know, I didn't think was possible, and clients within my practice really couldn't believe that they'd be able to do. But I wanted to show you. So just to highlight, in terms of things that clients have seen improvement, actually, kind of last week, something amazing happened, and one of my clients did the 21-day program back to back, and actually came off their blood pressure medicine. And with that, it's just amazing. So they've been on their medicine for 5 years, and the doctor is now taking them off their meds just because of how dramatically they have healed their gut. Other clients, IBS, so that's more and more a common problem within the Western world, and particularly within the UK today. Actually, clients are eliminating IBS symptoms. So I really hope this just highlights to you, just how important it is to heal your gut. And also with things like anxiety and depression, it sounds crazy, but your gut health is connected by the vagus nerve to your brain. And actually, you can really manage, because you have hormone production. So your happy hormones, for example, are produced in your gut. If you balance out your hormones and you balance out the bacteria within your gut, then you are going to thrive inside and out. So, a couple of things just kind of to bring this to an end. So I am offering to anyone who's been on this journey this week, a free lifestyle analysis. And that's just 45 minutes to really kind of take a look at your health and how your body's performing. So if this is something that you would want to take advantage of, then just contact me, either message me on the group by phone or email, and we can get something scheduled in at a time that suits you. And, the other thing is, just remember for yourself, take action soon. If this resonates with you and you can identify with some of these things, then the best time to plant a tree was 100 years ago. So don't wait any longer. If you know there's things you can do to improve your health, then absolutely do them. Um, as normal, I'll be producing a brochure, which I'll add to the group, so you will have some of these tips and ideas to take away with you and implement within your life. And, last but not least, I just want to really thank everyone here for being with us this week. We really hope you've enjoyed the program. I'd just like to say thank you to Gemma, to Sarah, to Nick. These guys have all been amazing, and they've given up their time to really provide what we hope's been a great program for you. So, last but not least, and I'll post something in the group later, but what we'd really, really appreciate is if there's any feedback you want to leave us, any testimonials for how you found the week, then we would really value your feedback, because obviously this is something we want to continue, and we would just really value your feedback and support. So, just wanted to kind of end. Are there any questions from anyone? I'll just wait a sec because I'm doing the slides. I'm having to check questions on my phone, so bear with me. But obviously, if there is no questions, just thanks again for joining us this week. We really do hope you've got some things out of it and some tools and techniques that you can carry on with at home, to really take care of you. Thanks for joining.